Walking Worthy, and this is the first official Walking Worthy YouTube video. I really don't get nervous that easy, but I am kind of nervous because this is just the first. You are seeing humble beginnings right here. I know not a thing about YouTube, so I am so excited to look back in 5 years from now and be like, look what the Lord did. But seriously, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this. It means the world to me. While I may not know anything about YouTube, I do love Jesus. I do have such a heart for ministry leaders, and so I am excited to share with you what the Lord has placed on my heart. And so to kick off the channel with our very first video, we are going to talk about how to have the spirit of a leader. And if you're watching this video, if you're here, if you're a part of Walking Worthy, then you are a leader. And to be a leader means that you go first. You guide, you give direction, you cast vision. As a leader, you have a group of people. It doesn't matter the number. You have a group of people, and these people follow you. You're their leader, whether it's kids ministry or youth ministry, senior pastor, associate pastor, next steps, worship, small groups, creative, photography, first impressions, cafe. I'm out of breath because there's so many things, but truly the list could go on for days. And if you are a ministry leader, that means that first you're called to Jesus. That's the most important thing. You're called to Jesus first, but second, you're called to his people. And how we all do that, how we all lead in ministry will look different, but our mission is the same. Our mission is to lead people closer to Jesus and then to lead them deeper into what he's called them to. And if there's a leader in the Bible that I want to be like and that I think did this really well, it's Joshua. And so we're going to talk about him today. If you know anything about Joshua, Joshua was Moses' aide. Joshua was also the one who was chosen to lead the Israelites into the promised land after Moses had passed away. And the thing I love about Joshua is that Joshua was faithful, he was faith-filled, he was full of integrity, but most of all, he loved God more than he loved any title or position. And so to give you a little bit of context to where we're going to be parking today, we're going to start in Numbers 20. In Numbers 20, the Israelites were coming at Moses and Aaron. They were not happy because there was no water to drink where they were camped at. And here, God specifically speaks to Moses and tells him to speak to a rock, and that water will start pouring out of that rock. If you know anything about Numbers 20, you know that Moses doesn't listen. He strikes the rock twice instead of speaking to it like God told him. And so as a result, in Numbers 20, verse 12, God says, because you did not trust in me enough and honor me as holy in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this community into the land that I have given them, which was the promised land of Canaan. So fast forward 7 chapters to Numbers 27, and that's where we're going to be today. Numbers chapter 27, verses 15 through 23. And I'm going to read it to you today. Moses starts to get concerned because he knows he's not going to be the one to lead the Israelites. And Moses says to the Lord in verse 16, may the Lord, the God who gives breath to all living things, appoint someone over this community to go out and come in before them, one who will lead them out and bring them in, so the Lord's people will not be like sheep without a shepherd. So the Lord said to Moses, take Joshua, son of Nun, a man whom is the spirit of leadership, and lay your hand on him. Have him stand before Eleazar the priest and the entire assembly, and commission him in their presence. Give him some of your authority, so the whole Israelite community will obey him. He is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who will obtain decisions for him by inquiring of Urim before the Lord. At his command, he and the entire community of the Israelites will go out, and at his command, they will come in. Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua and had him stand before Eleazar the priest and the whole assembly. Then he laid his hands on him and commissioned him as the Lord instructed Moses. Our key verse here is going to be Numbers 27:18. So the Lord said to Moses, take Joshua, son of Nun, a man whom is the spirit of leadership, and lay your hands on him. I want to talk to you today about what you need to have in order to have the spirit of a leader, because y'all, we have a lot of leaders in the church today, but if I'm being honest, I question how many of them have the spirit of a leader, but that is not going to be said about us. We are going to have the spirit of a leader. And so I think to have the spirit of a leader, you need to be able to do 3 things. I think the first thing you need to be able to do, and we can learn this from Joshua himself, is you need to be able to lead even when you're not in charge. Exodus 17:9 is the first time that we see Joshua, and it says in Exodus 17:9, it says this, The Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites. Moses said to Joshua, "Choose some of our men and go out to fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hands." So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held his hands up, the Israelites were winning. But whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this on a scroll as something to be remembered, and make sure that Joshua hears it, because I will completely blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven." Joshua was able to eventually lead the Israelites into Canaan because he led faithfully in other battles prior to that. No matter his position, everything was preparation for his future, and everything was character forming for him. Y'all, you have got to get this. Leadership is not about a title. Leadership is about a spirit that you carry. Leadership is about a spirit that is willing to submit to authority. It's about a spirit that is willing to fight in battle, and it is about a spirit that is willing to do whatever is necessary for the people of God to prevail. Look, Joshua was a faithful assistant to Moses. He honored Moses and his authority in his life. He protected Moses and his position as leader, and that's what made Joshua have the spirit of a leader. I think the second thing that you have to have in order to have the spirit of a leader is you have to be both goal and people oriented. You lead people both externally and internally. You lead them externally in battle, but you also lead them internally by caring inwardly for their needs. Leadership is about people. It's not about you. It's not about accolades. It's not about possessions. It's not about name brand clothes. It's not about running with the best. You are missing it if you think that's what leadership is. Moses was concerned about the sheep. Leadership is about leading, it's about feeding, and it is about protecting. It is about shepherding God's people, and that's what Joshua did because he saw Moses do the same. I think the last thing that you have to have is you have to have faith to obey God even when it's not popular and even when it's not comfortable. And we see Joshua do this in Numbers chapter 14. I love the story in Numbers 14 because I think it's so interesting. God had already promised the Israelites the promised land of Canaan. Like, he already told them, "I'm going to bring you into this land. This land is going to be yours. I'm going to deliver these people into your hands. Like, everything is yours." And so God speaks to Moses and he says, "Hey, choose somebody from each tribe and send 12 spies into the land of Canaan to see the land, to assess the land, and to bring back some fruit from the land." 12 spies went out into the land of Canaan. 12 spies also came back to Moses. 10 of those spies said, "Look, the land is great, it's prosperous, it's full of milk and honey, the fruit is great, but the people are too powerful, they're too strong, they're going to overcome us, we can't stand against them." That's what they said, despite what the Lord had already told them. Even though God already told them that the land was theirs, they came back and said, "Nope, we can't do it. We can't do it, it's too powerful." 2 people came back and said, "We can do it. The land is prosperous. Yeah, the people are strong, but God will be with us. We can do it. Nothing is too hard for the Lord. With God on our side, we can do it." Those 2 people's names, if you know it, were Joshua and Caleb. They had faith. They believed God. They did what nobody else was doing, and they were willing to go where nobody else was willing to go. And that's what made them such great leaders. And we see an excerpt from Joshua in Numbers chapter 14. Starting in verse 6, it says, "Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb were among those who had explored the land. They tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, 'The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and he will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land.' Listen to this, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." Y'all, if you want the spirit of leadership on your life, you have to get used to doing things that aren't popular, and you have to get used to going places that are uncomfortable, going places that no one was willing to go. Because Joshua did that, because Joshua believed God at his word, because he did things that nobody else was willing to do, and because he was willing to go places that nobody else was willing to go. That's why the spirit of leadership leadership was on his life. If you are in ministry for a popularity contest, you're in the wrong thing. You need to go somewhere else, because ministry is not about being popular. Ministry is about doing things for an audience of one, and his name is Jesus. Ministry is about shepherding God's people, like God said so many times, and Moses said too, bring them out and bring them in. Lead them out and bring them in. That's what we do as ministry leaders. We lead people. We are goal-oriented. We are people-oriented. We have vision for where God is taking us. We have vision for where we're going to bring God's people, and that is what will bring the spirit of leadership on your life. And so let's do this. Let's be people that operate with a spirit of leadership on our life. I don't just want to be a leader. I want to be a spirit-led leader that the spirit of leadership rests upon, and I want that for you too. So I pray this blessed you. I pray this encouraged you. I pray this challenged you. And I pray this pushes you in order to continue to walk in a manner that is worthy of the call of God that is on your life. If you haven't already, make sure that you join our ministry mentorship Facebook group. This is a free Facebook group where you're going to be in community with ministry leaders that are just like you, that want to walk worthy. It's going to be a place where you're going to be in community with people. I'm going to teach you. We're going to have fun together. We're going to laugh, and we're going to walk worthy. So thank y'all for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more videos just like this. Told you I'm a YouTube newbie. I got to learn what to say when, but truly, I'm glad you're here.